In the heart of Seoul's most affluent district lived Zill, a woman whose wealth could rival royalty, but whose heart was as cold as the marble floors she walked on. Zill, the only daughter of a late business magnate, inherited not just her father's billion-dollar empire but also his ruthless business spirit. Zill had one golden rule: the rich lead, the poor serve. Her mansion was spotless. Her cars were polished daily. Her employees were terrified of her. Even the gardeners bowed without making eye contact. Maids trembled at the sound of her heels clicking through the halls. She never said please, and thank you was a myth in her vocabulary. She had one son, Lat, a 10-year-old boy with a kind heart that didn't match his mother's. He greeted the workers, shared snacks with the driver, and once even offered to help clean the living room, something Zill considered disgustingly peasant-like. Zill adored Lat, but in her own way. He wore designer clothes, attended the best schools, and had a gold-plated tablet. But the one thing he didn't have was his mother's time or warmth. Then one evening, Lat collapsed while playing piano. The finest doctors in Korea were flown in. Scans, tests, blood work, everything came back inconclusive. Lat's energy was draining day by day. He didn't speak much. He just stared into space and spoke of strange dreams. One day, an old housemaid, who Zill had fired for accidentally breaking a porcelain vase, returned to the gates, begging to speak to her. "I know someone," she said, "an old healer in the countryside. She heals not with medicine, but with truth." Zill scoffed. "Do I look like a woman who believes in folklore? Get lost." But as the days passed, Lat's condition worsened. He began speaking of dreams with rivers, dirty roads, and an old woman with white eyes who held healing water. Panicked and with nowhere else to turn, Zill finally decided to seek out the healer. Zill packed up her luxury SUV with food, medical kits, and Lat's belongings, but refused to bring any of her staff. "I don't need useless people slowing me down," she muttered. They began the long journey to the countryside. As they drove through a rural village, a frail old beggar woman with matted hair stood in the middle of the road, waving her arms. Zill rolled her window down slightly. "Move!" she barked. The woman held out a trembling hand. "Just a little water. I'm dying of thirst." Zill took the bottle of cold mineral water, opened it slowly, then poured it all out onto the gravel. "Drink from the earth," she sneered and drove off. Lat, weak but alert in the back seat, turned his pale face toward his mother. "Mama, why did you do that?" "She's a beggar. You must never associate with them. They are where they are because they made bad choices," Zill snapped. Lat went quiet. Then he whispered, "She looks just like the lady in my dream last night." Zill's hands clenched the steering wheel. For a moment, her heart skipped, but she said nothing. The road grew narrower until finally her SUV couldn't proceed. A thick forest and a wild river blocked the way to the healer's hut. Furious, Zill was forced to carry Lat and drag luggage through the undergrowth. As they reached the riverbank, an old fisherman approached with a simple wooden boat. "The current is strong. Let me take you. You have a child?" Zill turned her nose up. "I don't take help from lowly people." She struggled to row the boat herself. The current nearly tipped it, and Lat coughed violently as cold water splashed on him. Her designer shoes got soaked, and she cursed loudly the entire time. Finally, exhausted and wet, they arrived at the healer's hut, a crumbling structure made of mud and bamboo. Chickens roamed freely. A sour herbal smell lingered in the air. "Disgusting," Zill muttered. Inside, the old healer sat cross-legged. Her eyes were clouded with age, but she spoke with power. "Sit." Zill refused. Lat, barely able to walk, staggered in and sat down without hesitation. "Thank you for seeing us," he said weakly. The healer touched his forehead and smiled. "This one has a clean heart. He will be healed." Zill gasped. "That's it? No medicine? No injections?" The healer turned her face slowly to Zill. "Your son is not sick because of disease. He is cursed because of your pride." Zill froze. The healer continued, A woman you shamed and fired. She cried out to the heavens, cursing your bloodline in her pain. That pain found its way into your child. Zill stammered. That's impossible. She did not curse with witchcraft. She cursed with truth. The universe listens to pain. Zill's knees buckled. You must find her. Apologize sincerely. Only then will the curse be broken completely. Zill and Lat stayed one more day at the healer's place. The next morning, Lat was brighter. His face had color. He could even stand on his own. As they left, the healer gave Zill a small wooden bead. Wear this when you apologize. It will absorb the bitterness you once caused. Zill nodded quietly. Upon returning home, the mansion seemed less grand, the silence more haunting. Zill summoned all her staff. They watched nervously, waiting for her usual cruel commands. But instead, she bowed. I've been wrong. I let my pride become poison. I'm sorry. They stood in silence, stunned. Tears welled in the eyes of one maid, the same woman Zill once fired and who had recommended the healer. Her name was Mian. Zill walked up to her. I hurt you, I judged you, and now I ask, can you forgive me? Mian, shaking, hugged her. The bead on Zill's neck cracked quietly. Lat recovered fully. Zill was no longer the ice queen of Seoul. She built a community center in Mian's hometown. She let her staff take days off. She said thank you and meant it. And every new year she drove herself, to that muddy hut in the countryside to bring the healer baskets of food and medicine. And each time she left, the healer would whisper, "The heart that heals is the one that learns to bow."